Bill Cipher in the show Gravity Falls has to be one of my top 10 favorite villains of all time. His chase for chaos was incredible, but he made one fatal mistake. He messed with Stan's family. But what could happen if we gave him the chance to try it again in another universe potentially? How would this affect the Naruto story? Stick around to find out. And also, if you want early access to the next part of the series, you can get the full story now if you enjoy the video by simply becoming a member of the channel. That will let you get access to early, videos and other perks that you guys can find on the member section of the channel. With that said, let's begin.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
We start in another universe, mere moments before Bill's death. You're making a mistake. I'll give you anything. Money, fame, riches, infinite power, your own galaxy, please, no! Suddenly, we end up hearing Bill invoke some gibberish, just like he would in the original. But if played backwards, it pretty much just says this. AXOLOTL. My time has come to burn. I invoke the ancient power that I may return. Followed by him yelling for Stanley to take his hand. But it never happens. This is where the story of Naruto would change forever. The ancient being known as Bill Cipher would return in another universe, with his reappearance being in an alternate reality. After saying what he said in the show, boom, a giant explosion would happen, and suddenly Naruto would be in the picture as everything just begins to slowly begin to fade black. Naruto's subconscious then pretty much ends up kind of forming a sort of strange sentient triangular like being in his mind, and Naruto would be laying on the floor close to death after having been almost killed on his 7th birthday for being a quote-unquote demon. Bill would wander into his mind and tell him that he can help him, he can save him. He begins asking him whatever led him in this sorry state and why he is so damaged. Naruto in his mind would simply think that it was those villagers who always beat him on the day of his birthday. Ever since he was 4, all he can remember is suffering. And Bill would say to himself that, wow, that's hard, but he can save him, he can help him, and all he has to do is shake his hand and give him access to something. Make a deal, we'll call it. Naruto at this point has about 2 minutes left before he finally croaks, and he would ask Bill, what kind of deal? What does he have to give up? But Bill would say, oh, give up? Oh, don't worry about it. It's nothing important. I just want your friendship, really. And for you to do what I say when the time is right. We got a deal? Naruto looks up and says, deal? Yeah, deal, friend, in a childlike voice, because Naruto at this point is only 7 years old. And after this, Naruto finds himself in his room where he sees Hiruzen opening the door waiting for him to simply hand him his usual rent money and extra expenses. He does this and tells Naruto not to waste it like usual, and he says he won't. But after this, he goes on to ask Hiruzen where his mom and dad are, and Hiruzen says, oh, your mother and father, well, they're gone now, right? So don't worry about it, Naruto, before closing the door. This prompts Bill inside of his mind to ask him if he would like him to show him about, who his parents were and what happened leading to their deaths. Naruto would look to Bill before asking if he can really do that, and Bill would chuckle and say, I can do anything, watch, as he then goes on to turn his house into a bouncy castle and says, see, I can do anything. But I'm getting ahead of myself. He then tells him he can show him where his parents are and what happened that day, the day Naruto's life pretty much got flipped on its head, immediately showing Naruto the exact moments that led to Minato and Kushina's death, the attack from the masked man, the tailed beast slaughtering hundreds of people and causing calamity through the hidden village, through the village hidden in the leaves. Immediately after this is shown to Naruto, Naruto would wake up in a cold sweat, disgusted with the village, because now Naruto knows that he was sacrificed by his father to become a pawn, a demon, and to save the village, only for everyone to despise him and act as if he did something so wrong. He then looks to Bill, looking down with his head pretty much just feeling defeated, feeling betrayed by his own parents on the day of his birth. How could they have done something like that to him? But he would then look back up to Bill and ask him, he then asked Bill why he chose to make a deal with him. And Bill just goes on to use his unspoken riz to make Naruto feel good about himself and tell him that he's his friend, basically. Going on to tell Naruto that he has nothing to worry about since he's there and he will always be there. Even telling Naruto that the problem is that he pretty much has that being that was sealed inside of him still in there, but Bill could make it go away, telling him that that little problem, that other entity inside of him, is now gone, and that he doesn't need it anymore since he now has Bill. Naruto smiles and asks Bill if he likes his birthmark, and Bill goes on to say that that was just a reminder of the beast that was sealed inside of him. Naruto then goes on to nod, and he would ask Bill if he can potentially remove it. Bill would snap his fingers, and poof, his birthmark would be gone. Now Naruto doesn't have the demon or the marks, and Naruto feels such joy. So he rushes to the office of Hiruzen to tell him all of the good news. And when Hiruzen hears that Naruto doesn't have the Nine Tails inside of him, he would go on to get explosively angry, asking Naruto while shaking him if he's serious, going on to lift his shirt only to see that there is no seal to be visible where it once was, and asking him what happened to his whiskers. When Naruto goes on to almost tell him what really just happened, it's at this moment that Hiruzen would go on to pretty much use his abilities to sense Naruto's chakra paths, realizing that it's only one, going on to ask him how he could have possibly done it. Naruto's about to tell him how, but then Bill in his mind would tell him not to say anything about him or their friendship, that he'll try to take him away from him, and that he doesn't know what he's potentially getting himself into if he tried something like that. Naruto would look to Hiruzen before looking to the ground and saying he doesn't know how it happened, that it was gone when he woke up. Hiruzen would think about this response and begin to ponder how this could be so, thinking that there's no way that the tailed beast could have been ripped out of him without Naruto dying. So how could this small child that has no control over his chakra whatsoever have gotten rid of the Nine Tails within himself, and why he was so happy? He decides to pretty much believe Naruto, but in a moment of rage, he would smack Naruto across the room and tell him that he's a disappointment to the village and that he can just go ahead and get lost, that money that he used to get every month won't be coming to him anymore for what he had just done to the village, for getting rid of their greatest asset, the Nine Tails, telling Naruto that they needed that thing and that Naruto getting rid of it was the worst mistake of his life. Naruto went on to run home crying in disbelief, as his thoughts would simply drift to thinking that he has no idea how this could have happened, thinking that all that Hiruzen must have probably wanted was to get rid of that beast. So why now that it's finally gone does he hate him so much? What did Naruto do that was so wrong? From what he can remember, he's done nothing, but Hiruzen looks to him with hatred in his eyes, with feelings of malevolence in his heart. Naruto doesn't know what to do, and when Naruto goes outside to the public and goes on to tell people that he doesn't have the Nine Tails anymore, nobody believes him. They don't care. Naruto goes back home running and asks himself why the people don't care. Naruto doesn't have the demon anymore. He doesn't have anything. They shouldn't be afraid of him anymore. He should have friends now, but that's not the case. Hiruzen got angry, and now Naruto will have no money. Bill goes on to, pretty much say something in Naruto's mindscape and go on to tell him that he shouldn't have to worry about things like that anymore. That Naruto now has infinite power in this universe and that the only thing that he needs is Bill. So Naruto goes on to pretty much have a time skip in which he goes on to learn how to control all of his new abilities and learn a bunch of things from Bill about the world that he currently lives in, about chakra, about the ancient beings known as the Otsutsuki. Naruto learns so many things and learns so much endless knowledge that Naruto simply thinks that he can basically do whatever he wants, since now Naruto has complete dominion over this planet, and that Bill is currently counting down the days as he teaches Naruto to build the portal that Ford had built in another universe, telling Naruto that this time things have changed, that he will be the ruler of this world someday. And over time, Naruto became cold to anyone outside of Bill. And Naruto now does not really care about anything else. He's kind of like Gaara. He gave up on pleasing others and simply attended the academy when he felt like it. Today just so happened to be one of the days of graduation, and Naruto arrived only to be yelled at by Sakura, since he was sitting in the desk she usually sits in next to Sasuke, who would go on to scream to Naruto in his face about having your seat being taken. "Naruto, what are you doing in my seat? Can't you see that Sasuke's there? Now move, get lost!" She immediately goes on to lift her fist and go to strike Naruto, but the second that she does so, Naruto would place a barrier between him and Sakura that would essentially multiply the force of the impact back on herself, so that the second that Naruto, kind of has that punch land anywhere near his vicinity, Sakura would get sent flying back and feel immense pain as she pretty much goes on to ask what just happened, but Naruto would give her a smile as he would stop time in the classroom and then go on to tell her that if she ever messes with him again, he'll take any and everything she ever loved away from her, starting with Sasuke, as he shows her a genjutsu world so powerful that she passes out, where she sees her mother, father, friends, and even Sasuke get tortured to death only to be revived over and over again. To be specific, 1,000 times. She passes out and wakes up a moment later because Naruto healed her, and then when she looks at him, he holds a finger in front of his mouth as he simply shushes her and lets Iruka continue on with what he was about to say, allowing Sakura to feel true horror for the first time in her life, feeling terrified of Naruto, knowing that she'll never go against his will ever in her lifetime. Following this, Iruka goes on to explain to the class that they will now be meeting their Jonin senseis, and a few hours would pass by until eventually Kakashi would enter the classroom. Naruto would simply have his head laying down as he would have been communicating with Bill over these last couple of hours, when eventually Kakashi goes over to tap Naruto's head, telling him that it's about time that they all make it to the roof. Naruto would be the first one there, even though he was the last one to get up, and when Kakashi realizes that Naruto got there even before himself, he would wonder how he would have done so since he used the body flicker, and he is definitely much faster than Naruto, right? Suddenly, introductions go on just like usual, but Sakura is too terrified to even utter a word yet. But Naruto looks to her and tells her to go forth, as she opens her mouth and begins to say that her goal is to simply become a powerful kunoichi, not even thinking about Sasuke and how much usually annoying she would be, just because of the fact that she's so terrified of Naruto that that's just overweighing the emotion she has for Sasuke. This would then lead to the entirety of the team getting to know each other somewhat, and the very next day rolling around where Naruto is pretty much simply waiting for Kakashi to arrive to tell them about said bell test. However, as soon as the bell test would begin and the 3 seconds would be called, Naruto would immediately have both bells in his hands, as Kakashi looks towards the direction of Naruto and asks him how he could have possibly done that. Naruto then looks at Kakashi and tells him that it was simple. He let his guard down and Naruto struck at the perfect opportunity. Kakashi looks to Naruto before questioning how he could have possibly moved that fast, and Naruto says that he shouldn't be too worried about that, as he then goes on to essentially tell him that he passed, right? Saying that they can both be a team without those two useless teammates over there. with Kakashi looking to Naruto and telling him that he failed, going on to essentially explain the true motive of this test. Naruto would immediately reverse time before he even did anything and go over to essentially control Sakura and Sasuke like puppets, making them all work together, making it seem like they were using perfect teamwork. In unison, all of them did what had to be done, and they were able to rip the bells from Kakashi's side. As suddenly, Kakashi goes on to essentially be shocked at this and basically passed them all, seeing as they perform perfect teamwork. Suddenly, 2 weeks worth of missions would go by, and eventually they would find themselves in the forest when 2 men would attack at them, both demon brothers. But suddenly, the second that they would reveal themselves and go forth to attack them, Naruto would simply hold one hand out as he would go on to essentially stop both demon brothers in their tracks, as Naruto pretty much snaps his fingers and both of them would be erased completely from existence. This is when Naruto turns to Kakashi and says, "Can we continue?" As Kakashi would be wondering where these strange powers come from and if that was a chakra-based attack, that there was no death, they just disappeared. What happened? Tazuna would be shocked as well, but eventually they would end up finding themselves in an encounter against Zabuza Momoichi. The second he reveals himself and tried to attack Naruto, Naruto pretty much looked to Zabuza before placing him under a genjutsu that left him in a vegetable-like state. He essentially showed Zabuza the worst moments of his life and then some, over and over and over, till Zabuza's body simply could not handle it. His mind wasn't strong enough and he fell over and died essentially, leaving him in a vegetable-like state, only for Haku to come lunging at Naruto in a bloodlusted state, for Naruto to turn Haku into a grasshopper and then continue on with the mission, leading them to be in the house of Tazuna, when suddenly Kakashi goes on to take Naruto to another room and ask him where these strange abilities come from. Naruto looks at Kakashi and tells him that he doesn't have to tell him a word or tell him anything, that while he may be his Jonin instructor, Naruto is something beyond his understanding, going on to tell Kakashi to get out of his way. Kakashi wouldn't fight back and Naruto would make his way towards the dinner table where tensions would be high. Suddenly, Inari would make an appearance and go on to yell at the team for telling them that they should just get lost, that they don't know anything about suffering. And this would hit a nerve within Naruto. Naruto once again stops time as he looks towards the direction of Inari and tells him, "What do you know about pain, boy?" Inari looks to Naruto and tells him that he has no father, and that all he has is his grandpa and his mother now, that his dad died and his adopted dad died as well, telling him that Gato took everything away from him. Naruto looks to Inari and says, "Interesting. You have a mother that loves you, a grandfather that cares for you, a roof over your head, and 3 meals on your table every day. Seems like a great deal to me. You know what I had to go through? You know what? How about I just show you, boy?" As suddenly, Inari would see visions of everything that Naruto has had to go through while he was only 7 years old, getting beat half to death every year on his birthday, being ostracized by the village, having both of his parents die before his eyes this day that he was born, and everything else in between Naruto's pathetic existence until he met Bill. And suddenly, Inari would stay silent, opting to never say another word to Naruto again, as Naruto gets down eye-to-eye level with Inari as he tells him that life isn't fair, and that he's not allowed to simply go around telling everybody that he's had it harder than anyone else. For all he knows, anybody in that room could have had a worse life than he has, and to stop being such a spoiled little brat. Jumping back into part 2, we immediately kick off the story after Naruto just told Inari that he was a spoiled little brat. And about 2 weeks would go by, of Team 7 essentially just protecting the bridge builder and their family until eventually they end up finishing the bridge, and Gato and his men would inevitably end up arriving. Team 7 would handle the situation by simply killing each and every single one of Gato's men with ease, and Gato would end up actually having to simply watch as Tazuna just puts in the last nail to the bridge, pretty much calling it the Great Naruto Bridge. As Team 7 would finish their mission, they pretty much end up having no more other reasons to stay there, so they end up making their way back home, only to see Hiruzen and brief him on all the things that had happened on this mission that they just embarked on. After that, they end up all parting ways, only to be summoned later on in the day and told about the upcoming Chunin exams. And once Bill hears this, He tells Naruto that this is perfect. It's his chance to get into good graces with the Hokage. To, show off a little and hold back on killing people this one time. As Naruto just looks to Bill and says, "Alright, I'll do what you tell me then." And, he's just on his way to leave. But it's at this moment that Kakashi would actually stop Naruto and tell him that he's actually been meaning to talk to him for a while. Naruto would look towards the direction of Kakashi as he would raise an eyebrow and wonder exactly what there is to talk about. Kakashi would then look towards the direction of Naruto as he would take Naruto to Ichiraku ramen shop, which would make Naruto extremely happy. They're both going to his favorite place. And it's at this moment that Kakashi would begin telling him about what his parents were like and telling Naruto about how his mother and father were and asking Naruto why he acts the way he does. Asking him why it seems like you pretty much took on a personality that isn't yours. Naruto would immediately begin being like, What are you talking about? And Kakashi just looks towards the direction of Naruto before telling him that it's so obvious. He's been in the ninja business for so long, he can tell when somebody's just putting up a front. And Naruto's entire personality just doesn't seem real. He feels as if he would have more of a mix of his father and mother's, if anything. Saying that his father was so outgoing and his mother, well, she was a piping hot, habanero. And Naruto looks towards the direction of Kakashi and says, "Why you call her that?" He just chuckles and says, "Oh, well, I used to be under her, and your father, he was the one who trained me." Naruto looks to Kakashi and for a moment, he forgets about Bill. He then begins to essentially ask Kakashi questions about his mother and father and what they were like, and pretty much the old memory that he had of them pretty much just sacrificing him slowly dwindles away with Kakashi's revelation after revelations, of him explaining to him the real reason why his father did what he did, saying that he most likely did what he did just because he wanted to keep the balance of power, because if one village doesn't have a tailed beast, then the other villages come attack. So if he didn't do that, pretty much the Leaf Village most likely would have died after that day. And Naruto finally understands his father, saying that, he actually did the right thing, seeming to think that Kakashi maybe isn't that bad of a guy, and maybe he mistook him, maybe he thought things were different. Kakashi looks to Naruto and asks him why it is that things always seem supernatural with him, asking him if he can communicate with the Nine Tails, which Naruto responds that he can't. The Nine Tails is no longer even part of him. And Kakashi would be shocked because nobody was actually made aware of all this after all these years. People just thought that Naruto lied. So now Kakashi looks to Naruto and asks him why he's so far apart from the world, telling him that in this world, you get to make choices of what to do and what not to do. Maybe not everything's perfect in the beginning, but you get to choose what you do after that. Naruto looks at Kakashi, just kind of pondering that same question, and then looks back and he just says that he's not really sure. But Kakashi suddenly just looks to him and says that he just needs people to be there for him, as he would smile and tell him that he's never alone with Team 7. They're his new family. And he tells Naruto to hold on to that and to never let go, because just like with real family, we don't get to choose our blood ties. So why should we get to choose this one? As he smiles to Naruto, and Naruto just looks down, thinking that that's true. He never had friends or family, but now he has people around him, so he better at least begin liking them at the very least. Looking to Naruto and leaving Naruto with this thought, as Bill would pretty much begin raging out and suddenly calming down at the thought of what he just said. Bill would suddenly come to the front of Naruto's mind, and that later that day, and Naruto would actually tell Bill that for now, he wants to try the Chunin exam on his own. See what can happen. Bill just says, "Whatever, kid, just remember, the universe is a hologram." "Yeah, I know, Bill. You've told me hundreds of times. I'll let you know if I need your help," which, not likely, since all these meatbags are pretty weak. He laughs and looks at Bill and tells him that he's his only true friend, as he goes off and rests and trains a bit on jutsu, which are all essentially easy. He masters all of it in a little under a day and is ready to fight extremely soon. The day eventually comes around and Naruto watches Sasuke begin to essentially be defeated and pretty much get his ass handed to him by Rock Lee. But at this moment that Lee begins to pretty much get the upper hand on Sasuke, Naruto thinks back to what Kakashi said to him about family. And so Naruto, his hair disappears, he puts on some shades and he just goes, "Family, I used to live my life a quarter of a mile. But basically, he just looks to Kakashi, Sasuke, as he pretty much, he does like this strange hand motion that coats Sasuke in this strange purple-like aura that pretty much boosts his power by 3 times to make sure that Sasuke wipes the floor with Lee. Now, Sasuke feels this sudden urge of power slightly, but he's able to keep up with Lee, and Lee will then go on to essentially try to take his weight. But Sasuke lands a kick that sends him hurtling to the ground, and Guy would catch Lee, telling him that he's crazy for what he was about to do to reveal his trump card. As, Sasuke looks back to Lee and says, I beat you. Not much of an opponent now, are you? As Guy just goes on to pretty much do his own interaction and essentially tell Team 7 that he is Kakashi's eternal rival of youth. As, they all look at him and they're like, oh, cool, dude. Like, we didn't ask, but that's cool. And suddenly Mike Guy just looks at them and says, right, just a little heads up. I'm stronger than Kakashi. Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura would all be shocked immediately. And they would all essentially begin walking towards the place of the exam. Naruto, once they begin walking towards that direction, would essentially go on to pretty much stop time for just a moment, looking to Sakura and unfreezing her. As she looks at Naruto and says, did I do anything wrong? She's clearly shaken up by Naruto and her being one-on-one in this dominion once again. But Naruto would simply look to Sakura and tell her not to worry, that he's sorry for what he did to her back in the academy, and that he promises he'll never do anything like that unless he truly forces him to. Sakura looks to Naruto and sees a little bit of genuine expression on Naruto's face, as she's like, oh, well, thanks, Naruto. I didn't expect that from you. As Naruto looks at Sakura and says, yeah, I'm not a monster. He then pretty much winds time back to normal and says not to say anything, as Sakura doesn't, and they continue on with the exam, going on to take the written portion, as Naruto doesn't actually end up being vocal about not giving up and giving other participants an encouragement or a boost of morale, you know what I mean? So instead, the only thing that truly ends up going down is Naruto just goes into the exam guns blazing, and essentially once he's in the forest of death, and Orochimaru would end up arriving on the scene only to try to terrorize Team 7, Naruto seeing this would think back to the words of Kakashi once more and think that he has to protect this team. This is his new family and it's all he has. So Naruto immediately just decides that he's going to do his best out here. He immediately goes on to blitz towards the direction of Orochimaru, take a sword out that he would pretty much pull out of nowhere like Deadpool, and slice at the direction of Orochimaru, who would counter with the Kusanagi blade, saying that Naruto is a bit fast for his age. Naruto then waves one hand sign and says, water Dominion Jutsu, right? As he just shoots this gigantic tsunami-like wave of water that completely covers Orochimaru, before Naruto then weaves another hand sign and says, lightning style, lightning purge jutsu, sticking his hand into this sea of water that he just trapped Orochimaru in, and pretty much shocking him, until eventually Naruto then uses a wind style, like a tornado type wind style, right? That pretty much ends up making a lightning water tornado, right? And pretty much catches Orochimaru until it throws him off to the distance, and he goes flying Team Rocket style. Sasuke looks to Naruto as he just says, well, thanks, you definitely saved us there. Naruto looks back to Sasuke and says, don't mention it, but you would have done the same thing for me if I was in your shoes. Sasuke says, right, Naruto, as they continue on with their mission, only to eventually be encountered by this Sound Genin. Now, once the Sound Genin arrive, Naruto realizes that it's about time he lets Sasuke shine. So he secretly, ups Sasuke's power by 2. And Sasuke would rush in so fast that these sound-based attacks simply just couldn't touch Sasuke. I mean, the dude was on a completely different level, so these attacks were pretty much as fodder as it gets to Sasuke. Sasuke would lunge in, throwing a sweep kick at one of the directions of Dosu, and Dosu would fall to the ground before Sasuke lunges down at him and holds a kunai to his throat, looking up at the direction of the rest of the Sound Genin and telling them that unless they want their little captain dead, they better stand down now. Immediately, Sakura would hold one kunai out, and Naruto looks towards the direction of the other guy, which got his arms broken in the original, telling him that he better listen to what his little captain here is saying. as, he twists two of his fingers in the back, and he immediately makes the guy that got his arms broken, like he makes his arms like pretty much go behind his back, as Naruto then picks him up with telekinesis and essentially makes him begin to choke himself Star Wars style, as, he then looks to the girl and says, so what's it gonna be? The scroll or their lives? And she immediately freaks out, wondering what that even is, like how they're even doing what it is they're doing, right? Naruto looks towards the direction of her and just tells her not to worry about anything, that she can just get lost and live to see another day. Their teammates, however, they're in for a horrible, horrible day. Naruto looks back towards the direction of Sasuke, and Sasuke pretty much ended up piercing the kunai down as Naruto closed his fist and killed the sound Genin. He looks towards Sasuke and tells him that he made the right choice, as Naruto goes on to essentially grab the scroll and head towards the direction of the tower along with Team 7. Naruto slowly beginning to get bonds. Things are kind of awkward. I know that the way that I'm portraying things, it doesn't really seem that way, but kind of just picture that you just had an argument with your parents and you're kind of just trying to get things to go back to normal is essentially kind of how everything's being. Sakura slowly starting to light up to Naruto. Naruto starting to try to show Sasuke that he's, he doesn't feel superior to him and trying to show him that, they're on equal footing, right? Sasuke doesn't exactly quite believe it, knowing that Naruto's the strongest, but since Naruto's able to give leadership role to Sasuke, Sasuke feels good enough with that, right? But they end up making their way towards the tower, and once they are at the tower, essentially the only thing that ends up happening is they end up meeting up with Kakashi and Iruka Sensei, who explain what had just happened and what the Chunin exam portion that they just took was for. Eventually, they're then briefed about the said fact that they have to take preliminary battles, and essentially what would happen is once the battles would be announced and Naruto would be told that he's going to be facing off against Kiba, Naruto looks towards the direction of Kiba as he has a smile on his face. Now, Kiba looks back to Naruto and he has a little bit of a different thought process to this, thinking that he can impress Hinata, beat the top dog of the academy all in one day? Like, this is a bargain sale. Kiba, it's his lucky day. That's just what Kiba's thinking, right? He's like, I can't wait to defeat Naruto. Like, I'm going to show everybody that I'm the strongest and I'm going to be Hokage. You know what I mean? Like, Kiba's just having an inner monologue. The dude's pretty much just like creaming everywhere inside his pants as he looks towards his dog and just goes, come on, Akamaru, let's go hit him with the fang over fang. They rush at the direction of Naruto. Naruto holds one hand out and immediately pushes the both of them back, separating them, eventually going on to pretty much switch their personalities, where Kiba's trapped in the body of Akamaru, and Akamaru's trapped in the body of Kiba. Now, they both would look back to each other as Akamaru would just begin barking, being like, "Wow!" Like internally being like, "What happened?" And Akamaru begins to essentially start speaking, asking, what's going on. And suddenly, we basically have Naruto lunging in at both of them and punching them one good time across the face as they're both sent flying. And they eventually have to end up trying to fight Naruto in this strange state where they have to try to be like each other. They try to do the fang over fang attack, but it just doesn't work because they've never tried it this way. And when, Kiba uses the beach transformation jutsu that Akamaru would usually use, he kind of is able to move around better, seeing as he's not in the body of a dog. Eventually, they use the attack once more, and Naruto, in Luffy-like fashion, or if you haven't seen One Piece, he essentially just lifts both arms up as he then slams them down to the ground, and both of them, with their fang over fang states, will just get slammed to the ground. And Naruto just looks up at them and goes, pitiful. Well, I'll see you guys next time. Naruto from there pretty much goes on to go towards the direction of Kakashi, as Kakashi looks to Naruto and nods, and Naruto just gets on the railing and watches Sasuke's battle go down. After this, every single other battle that would have happened in the original goes down, and when Naruto sees Hinata about to essentially get hit by Neji, Naruto immediately goes on to stop time and hit Neji back, like sending him flying to the walls of the Chunin exams area, right? Then Naruto unfreezes time and simply Neji is just on the ground as the Jonin didn't even get time to react fast enough, right? Naruto then just kind of walks away from the Chunin exams areas, as that would have been the final match and everything would have been called for the next matches in 1 month's time. Now, obviously, this is around the period of time that Naruto and the original would go on to meet Jiraiya, and things would kind of begin falling down like dominoes, exactly the way that they would in the Naruto storyline. Sasuke goes off to train with Kakashi, and Kakashi tells Naruto that Sasuke needs this training more than he does, so he's going to be focusing on Sasuke, telling him to do his best and that he can't wait to watch them both face off in the Chunin exams finals. Naruto nods his head, thinking that no matter how much training Sasuke does, he'll never beat him, but he's just going to give him the victory anyways. Actually, but as he thinks that, Bill comes in his mind and goes, "What? Give him the victory? You can't do that." And Naruto just looks to him and goes, I mean, I was just thinking it'd be the nice thing to do. Bill then goes on to say that it's not about the nice thing to do, it's about their plans. And he made a deal, remember? He tells Naruto that their deal was set in stone and that Naruto has to follow the conditions, remember? Naruto then looks to Bill and asks if this is one of the favors. And Bill says, exactly, you need to win in the Chunin exams and get promoted to Jonin. This is a favor, Naruto. You need to comply. Naruto immediately looks to Bill and says, you know what? For you, I'd move heaven and earth, so I'll get it done. And Bill then, kind of calms down, shrinks down a size, and then looks to Naruto and tells him, so, what kind of training are you thinking of doing, Naruto? Naruto looks to Bill and just goes, training? Honestly, I wasn't even thinking of training. But Bill just looks back to the direction of Naruto and tells him, right, so what are you thinking of doing then? Naruto just looks away up to the sky and sees a little poster up. Like it's like a, how do I put this? It's a gigantic poster of an ad on it. It's an ad. Oh my god, it's the things that you see on the freeway, right? Basically, Naruto looks up and sees this gigantic poster that pretty much says some slight clothing on it. And Naruto's like, some slight clothing? And yeah, that's where today's video sponsor comes in. If you guys have ever wanted some dope anime shorts, then you guys could definitely go check out Some Slight Clothing. They make the dopest designs ranging from Demon Slayer, One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, and I think that's pretty much it. But trust me guys, their designs are simply so dope and so recognizable to the average fan that it's so nice to buy yourself a pair of these. I mean, they're great for conversation starters, they fit great, they're comfortable, and using my code ZETHER at checkout, you guys can save 10% off these already affordable shorts that will run only $35. And I'm telling you, for the quality and the way that these things look, it is more than worth it. I currently own about 10 pairs of them, and I'm gonna pop a picture up of the ones that I own right here. And also before this should have been a couple of pictures of the designs that they offer. So if you guys are interested, definitely make sure to check the first link down below in the description, which will have their company down there, so you guys can check out the shorts yourselves. But with that all out of the way, let's get back into the what if. Jumping back into the story, right? We end up basically seeing Naruto going to the hot springs thinking that he was just gonna relax, right? Once he makes it close, he sees some pervy old guy peeking on the girls, and Naruto thinks it would be funny to pretty much flick his fingers and make it so that Jiraiya is naked and thrown into the girls, the women's area, right? Jiraiya immediately gets plopped in there naked, and all of them begin screaming, going, "What?" You know what I mean? Like they're all freaking out, and Jiraiya just like, he has a nosebleed, an insane nosebleed, as he's like, you know what I mean? And then Naruto just pretty much poops him back out with all of his clothes on, as Jiraiya looks to Naruto and goes, Did you do that? Naruto then says, sure did, buddy. What are you gonna do about it? Jiraiya then begins to profusely thank Naruto, and Naruto's like, what? Like, shouldn't you be mad? Jiraiya's like, seriously? That made my entire year, bro. Like, appreciate it. I wanted to get a closer look, but I couldn't just drop in there myself, right? Your little ability, it saved me some embarrassment because it was against my will, right? Naruto looks to him and goes, right. And suddenly Jiraiya just kind of begins to talk to Naruto, and I guess you could say begin forming a bond with him. Suddenly, over the next couple of days that they have until the final fight, Naruto just spends all of his time with Jiraiya, hanging out and pretty much breaking himself out of this cocoon that he set for himself and beginning to actually enjoy his life, beginning to enjoy the world that he lives in. Finally, these thoughts begin irritating Bill, because it was to his understanding that he was going to be launching the weird Mageddon in this alternate universe. But if Naruto doesn't comply, he'll just take over anyways. Naruto just begins to essentially continue befriending Jiraiya, and they both end up developing a very grandpa and grandson relationship where Naruto's having a blast with Jiraiya and just pretty much getting a hint of the things that he missed out on growing up, not having anybody there to care for him at all. Like, Naruto grew up basically by himself. Water break. Water be hitting different when you talk for as long as I have into a mic. Anyways, though, so what basically ends up happening after this situation is Naruto now begins to realize that he finally has ties to this village. He has Jiraiya, he has Kakashi, he kind of has Sasuke, and he doesn't want to admit it, but he has Sakura. I mean, he used to have a crush on her, and, he then started hating her, but now he can sort of stand her. He also has Iruka, who just doesn't hate him anymore, just due to the fact that Naruto, he just wasn't the same goofball that he was in the original. So Iruka's cool with Naruto, and he's actually treated him to ramen every now and then, even when he was in his emo-ish state, not stite. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so let's see here. What happens next? Oh, right. Naruto begins to essentially get these thoughts of pretty much enjoying himself here. And it's at this moment that Bill would begin to kind of see a little bit of cracks begin to form in his plan. He's not exactly enjoying this, but it's at this moment that we kind of get the sequence of events that are finally bringing us towards the finale to actually come into play. Obviously, we have the battle between Naruto and Neji, which I'm pretty much going to just be stating that Naruto goes on to fondle Neji like a little schoolgirl. Hold on, what? And basically go on to essentially pick this man up with his telekinesis and tickle his balls, you know what I'm saying? And Neji just passes out of laughter, right? Everybody's wondering why Neji was laughing, but Neji was literally getting choked. Hey, yo, Neji was pretty much just getting lifted with telekinesis, and Naruto was, yeah, right. So basically what ends up happening is we then jump to the battle between Sasuke and Gaara. That still happens just like it would originally, and then we suddenly get a moment where Naruto is sent off to save Sasuke like he would have in the Chunin exams. Naruto flies off towards the direction of Sasuke, and it's at this moment that Naruto would go on to essentially erase Gaara from existence. He was a threat to the village that he lives in, so Naruto was not about to let this slide. The two Sand siblings would arrive only to see their brother gone from existence, as well as the One-Tails, and Naruto would look back to Sasuke, telling him if he's alright. Sasuke slaps Naruto's hand out of the way and tells him he could have handled that himself. And Naruto then looks to Sasuke, and says, I know you would have. I just wanted to steal the credit from you. As Sasuke looks back to Naruto with a smirk on his face and says, yeah, you better not be thinking you're stronger than me already. As Naruto just looks back to Sasuke and starts chuckling with him and just goes, we'll see, we'll see. Suddenly, Sasuke kind of feels a bit of his rage begin to slowly quiet down, with Naruto not acting cocky or acting like he's better than him at all, if anything acting like real rivals. So Sasuke's hatred kind of is quelled for the moment. Eventually, we get the news of Hiruzen's death after a little bit of time, and Naruto finding out that Hiruzen died didn't actually cause anything. Naruto continued his day-to-day activities like nothing had happened, until eventually Jiraiya sensei arrives to his door and tells him, hey kid, we're going on a mission, pack your bags. Naruto immediately just says like, okay, and they go off to pretty much find Tsunade. Naruto goes on to essentially learn the Rasengan Jutsu, and essentially during this time that he would have been in the apartment after Jiraiya went off to do some research, Naruto was left alone to face off against Kisame and Itachi Uchiha. The second that he opened the door and saw both of them, he immediately asked, so, what you guys doing here? And Kisame just lunges at Naruto and kicks him in the gut, sending him flying, crashing out of the building. Kisame and Itachi find themselves outside, slowly walking towards Naruto, and it's suddenly at this moment that Naruto freezes time and tells Kisame that he's gonna regret that. He flips the insides of Kisame inside out, so Kisame's like flesh and like blood and bones are on the outside, while his outside part is on the inside, and Kisame begins to internally scream, but you can't hear anything because his mouth is literally flipped inside out. So it's like Kisame is just dying. Itachi, seeing this, immediately wonders what is even going on, and it's at this moment that Naruto just looks to Itachi and says, you must be Sasuke's little brother, or sorry, big brother, as he begins to speak to Itachi, asking him what he thinks he's doing here trying to capture him. Itachi then goes on to say that it's just a mission by the Akatsuki, that there's no hard feelings, asking him if there's any way that his teammate will survive that attack. Naruto looks back to him and says there's no way he'll survive that. And Itachi just says, I figured as much. Suddenly, he then goes on to pretty much begin asking Naruto what Sasuke is, and knowing that he's pretty much about to die and that there's nothing he could do about it, he tries to use Genjutsu as a last-ditch effort. But Naruto in the Genjutsu world would look to Itachi with a smile as he grows 100 times the size, pretty much the size of like a mountain, and goes on to slam his fist down on Itachi, killing him in the Genjutsu world, which causes him to pretty much wake up, and suddenly Naruto and Itachi are both in the normal plane of existence, where Naruto goes on to ask Itachi if he wants to die this way or that way. Itachi then looks to Naruto and tells him that if before he kills him to do him a favor and tell Sasuke some things. Naruto looks to Itachi and begins listening, and Itachi pretty much begins spewing everything, like telling Naruto everything, causing Naruto to be like, hold on now, that's crazy. So you join that group, but you're really part of the Leaf Village? And Itachi just looks to him and nods, and time has stopped, keep in mind. So it's like Jiraiya is not even anywhere nearby, and Sasuke is already on his way there. Naruto looks back to Itachi and tells him that he's gonna let him go, but not to ever dare interfere with the Leaf Village, and that he'll come for him when the time is right. Naruto then proceeds to essentially let Itachi out. Sasuke comes out, and suddenly Itachi fills him with this feeling of hatred, right? Naruto, seeing this, would pretty much reverse the effects, and Itachi leaves with Jiraiya arriving, saving the day on time, and Tsunade is returned to the village to essentially begin healing all the wounded who got hurt during the attack on Konoha. After this, we essentially get a period in time where Sasuke is actually not trying to leave the Leaf Village, because Naruto pretty much ended up manipulating his mind into making him stop with the hatred and all this emo stuff of just power. He told Sasuke he'll grant him that power, but he has to stay in the village. And Sasuke got exactly what he wanted, so why would he ever leave the village? Suddenly, we get a 2-year time skip, and we see Bill inside of the mind of Naruto, counting down the seconds, right? He's counting, and suddenly the clock hits the perfect time. Bill's powers took a while to return, but they're finally back, and now Bill can finally truly control Naruto. So he ends up pretty much telling Naruto that he now has to, complete that little favor of his, which is essentially to launch Weird Mageddon on the planet that they're currently on at this moment. But Naruto doesn't want to. At this moment, he's already gained bonds with other people around him, but Bill grows in size, darkening in color with his eye becoming red as he looks to Naruto and tells him that he doesn't have a choice, telling him that he either agrees or dies. As Naruto looks to Bill and tells him if there's any other deal that they could make, that Naruto would do anything other than destroy this universe. Bill begins thinking, and suddenly he looks to Naruto before telling him that if he helps him destroy another universe and regain his power in another plane of existence, he'll leave this universe alone, and only this universe alone. Naruto looks to Bill, just thinks to all of his friends and wonders what the right choice would be, what Jiraiya would want him to do, but Naruto then immediately just lets Bill do what he wants, realizing that Bill was never his friend all along. He was just using him as an agenda to get what he wanted. And Naruto asks Bill if that's the case. Bill tells him it is, and Naruto gets a saddened expression on his face as he wonders if any of those years spent together meant anything to Bill. Bill laughs and goes on to tell Naruto that he's been alive for billions of millennia, so he has no idea how short of a time of waiting that truly was for him, saying that he's been trapped in the nightmare realm for far too long, and the one time that he got to get out and play, his fun was ruined by some kids. Going on to tell Naruto that it's about time that they get their little revenge. And suddenly, Naruto's consciousness and body would essentially begin to rise up into the air as Bill begins to essentially open a wormhole to another universe entirely, the one which Gravity Falls resides in. And once they arrive, Naruto looks around to the area to see everything look different, futuristic almost, not as much, but it looks as if people have evolved somewhat. Naruto then sees a car coming in, which is like a little golf cart, and Mabel and Dipper are on there. They're about 16 years old now, returning to Gravity Falls for another fun summer, as Bill just looks towards the direction and just says, "Hey buddies, you ready to party again?" And Naruto just looks at the direction of these kids' faces as he sees the pure horror in them. But Naruto just has to play along with Bill and stand side by side with him as he rises to the surface and essentially begins to use his magic to pretty much begin to toy with the world, beginning to slowly essentially begin destroying it and rushing down to the portal room that Ford had made to essentially pull the levers and everything and pretty much activate the portal for other creatures of Weird Mageddon to essentially arrive to this planet once again. Naruto is now forced to essentially help Bill with the conquering of the planet and finally get his revenge over Dipper and Mabel. And Naruto is successful in Bill's endeavor, helping him to actually destroy the universe of Gravity Falls. But after Bill does so, he then looks to Naruto and throws him a bone, right? Naruto catches it and asks if there's anything else he could do before returning. And Bill says, "Oh, yeah. Keep that portal open." Naruto looks to Bill and asks, "Wait, what?" And Bill looks to him and says, "Did you really think I would spare your universe? No, I'm taking over all of them. The entire multiverse." You know what I mean? He just starts laughing. The monsters behind him begin to chuckle as well. And Naruto looks to Bill as he says, "You lied to me. You tricked me. I helped you destroy their entire world for you to stab me in the back." And Bill just begins to laugh and say, "Look, I tricked Sixer, so now I'm going to trick you as well, Whiskers." As, he returns Naruto back to how he once was without any powers. And Naruto is standing there with nothing but chakra, genjutsu, and taijutsu to stand up to Bill. He looks to Bill's direction and essentially just gives up. He's not even going to try to fight Bill. He knows the power that he has. He's just accepted that his universe is doomed. But then he thinks, wait, how would he get to my universe if he doesn't have access to it through me? He then looks towards the direction of Bill and asks him how exactly he plans to get to the other universe. And Bill just goes on to explain that as long as he has one thing of the previous universe in this one, he can travel along as far as he wants, saying that his powers increase gradually the longer that he's pretty much alive, stating that pretty soon after this entire universe is conquered, he'll go after his. He'll probably be long dead, but it's gonna happen. And Naruto just looks towards the direction of Bill before stating that that can't happen if he does this. Naruto takes out a blade and just commits seppuku in front of Bill and all the monsters, as Bill just reverses time and says, "Nice try, buddy, but that's not gonna work. I'm taking over your universe and everything else that follows. Good luck trying to stop me, kid. Remember, the universe is a hologram."